Changing your thoughts changes your life. Choose to train your mind for strength, not doubt. Daily habits shape your mindset. Choose ones that build courage and clarity. What if you could stop those negative thoughts that weigh you down every day? What if your mind became a place of calm and strength instead of worry and doubt? What if the way you think right now is holding you back from living the life you really want? Negative thinking isn't just a small problem. It can control your mood, your choices, and even your future. But what if there was a way to take charge and change that? What if learning just a few simple habits could shift your mindset and bring you more peace, confidence, and focus? This video will show you 10 powerful things you can learn to eliminate negative thinking and start living with more clarity and hope. These are not empty promises, but practical steps you can take right now to reshape your mind and your life. Now let's dive in. Number 1. Build strong awareness of your daily thought patterns. Most people never stop to notice what they're actually thinking about all day. They go from one moment to the next without asking, what's happening inside my mind? That's dangerous, because if you don't notice what you're thinking, those thoughts start driving your decisions, your emotions, and your life. And a lot of those thoughts aren't helpful. Some of them are full of fear, anger, guilt, and doubt. If you're not paying attention, they'll become the background noise that guides your life without you even realizing it. You have to stop and ask yourself what kind of thoughts you're feeding your mind. Are they building you up or tearing you down? Are they helping you move forward or holding you back? If you start your day already criticizing yourself, if you talk to yourself like someone you don't like, then how do you expect to feel good, stay motivated, or have peace? It starts with awareness. And that means slowing down just enough to listen to your own mind. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you think about? When you're alone, what do you tell yourself? When something goes wrong, what story do you create in your mind? These questions matter more than people realize, because your life is not just about what happens to you. It's about how you think about what happens to you, and the way you think about it shapes everything that follows. If you want to eliminate negative thinking, the first thing you need to do is shine a light on it. You need to catch it in the act. You need to bring it out of the shadows and put it in front of you. That's how you start to take control. You can't change a thought you're not even aware of. You can't replace a pattern you've never identified. That's why you have to build the habit of checking in with yourself several times a day. Not with judgment, not to shame yourself, but to understand what's going on in your mind. One of the most powerful things you can do is keep a simple thought journal. Just write down what's on your mind a few times a day, especially during moments of stress or boredom or quiet. Over time, you'll start to see the patterns. You'll notice the thoughts that keep coming back. Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's not feeling good enough. Maybe it's worry about what other people think. Whatever it is, write it down. Make it visible. Because once it's visible, you can work with it. Don't rush to fix everything. That's a mistake a lot of people make. They become aware of their negative thinking, and they try to force it to go away immediately. That's not the right approach. First, just notice it. Become familiar with it. Understand where it shows up and how it makes you feel. Ask yourself when it started. Ask yourself what triggers it. This kind of reflection builds emotional strength. It teaches you to respond instead of react, and it gives you space between what you think and what you choose to believe. Sometimes you'll notice that your thoughts sound like voices from your past. Maybe it's a teacher who said you weren't smart enough. Maybe it's a parent who didn't believe in you. Maybe it's your own voice repeating a mistake you made years ago. That's what awareness reveals. It shows you the old programming that's still running. And once you see it, you can ask yourself a powerful question. Do I want to keep this thought or not? That question puts you back in control. Most people walk around believing every thought that shows up in their mind. That's not freedom. That's surrender. You don't have to believe everything you think. You don't have to accept every thought as truth. But you do have to notice it. And you have to make a decision. If the thought is helpful, keep it. If it's hurting you, you have every right to let it go. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary for your peace, your confidence, and your future. Now, it won't happen all at once. You're not going to become perfectly aware in a day. This is a daily practice. And some days you'll be more aware than others. That's fine. The key is consistency. Check in with yourself in the morning, Pause during the day and ask yourself how your mind is doing. At night, reflect on the thoughts that stayed with you. This isn't about overthinking. It's about becoming conscious. And once you're conscious, you're not a victim of your mind anymore. Negative thinking thrives in silence. It grows in neglect. But the moment you shine a light on it, it starts to lose its power. It can't hide anymore. It can't whisper lies in the background, because you've decided to pay attention, and that decision makes all the difference. It's the first step in breaking free. You also have to be honest with yourself. When you see a negative pattern, don't defend it. Don't make excuses for it. Don't tell yourself it's just how you are, because that's not true. You are not your negative thoughts. You are the one observing those thoughts. You are the one deciding what to do with them. That's your power. And you only use that power when you choose awareness over autopilot. Start asking yourself better questions. When a negative thought shows up, stop and ask, where did this come from? Is it even true? What would I say to a friend who felt this way? That simple act of questioning breaks the cycle. It wakes you up, and it shows you that most of what's been dragging you down is not based in truth. It's based in fear. It's based in repetition, and it can be replaced. Once you become more aware of your thoughts, something beautiful starts to happen. You begin to see how much you've been living in old stories. You begin to understand why you feel the way you feel. And from that understanding, you begin to heal. You become more patient with yourself, more forgiving, and you become more intentional about the kind of thoughts you want to entertain. This is how you start eliminating negative thinking, not by pretending to be positive, not by ignoring your struggles, but by paying attention, by being honest, by deciding that your mind should be a place that supports you, not a place that attacks you. And every time you choose to be aware, you're rewriting the script. You're teaching your mind a new way to think, a way that brings strength, a way that brings peace, a way that gives you your power back. Number 2, train your mind to reject self-doubt instantly. There's a voice that enters the mind when you're about to try something new, when you stand at the edge of effort, and it whispers things that make you pull back. It says you're not good enough, you're not ready, you're going to fail. People will laugh. That voice is not truth. That voice is self-doubt. It comes fast, and it comes with force. If you don't prepare your mind, it'll push you away from your goals before you even take the first step. The key is to train your mind to recognize it the moment it shows up and shut it down before it grows. You don't defeat self-doubt by ignoring it. You defeat it by becoming stronger than it. You have to teach your mind that self-doubt has no place in your decisions, in your self-image, or in the way you live your life. It won't happen by accident. It won't happen just by listening to motivation. It will happen only if you decide to treat your mind like a discipline. You have to be intentional, because the mind will believe whatever it hears the most. You can't let that be the voice of fear. The first thing you need to do is catch the voice quickly. Don't let it speak for 5 minutes before you even notice it. You must build a habit of identifying those thoughts the moment they enter your awareness. If you think you're not good enough to do something, don't agree with it. Don't let the thought finish. Interrupt it. Tell yourself no. Tell yourself that's not your belief. Reject it with clarity and firmness. Don't argue with it. Don't explain anything to it. Just shut it down and move forward. The mistake most people make is they try to rationalize with their self-doubt. They give it attention. They sit with it and go back and forth. But every second you spend giving it attention, you make it stronger. It's like feeding the enemy. Self-doubt doesn't deserve your time. It deserves to be disqualified immediately. You have to treat it like a lie, because that's what it is. It has no evidence. It only survives through repetition. And you have the power to break that cycle. The way you speak to yourself matters. Every time you say I can't, every time you say I don't think I'm ready, you're reinforcing the very pattern that's holding you back. Instead, build the habit of affirming your strength, not with fake statements, but with real truth. Remind yourself of what you've overcome. Remind yourself of the effort you've put in. Remind yourself of your progress. This is not about arrogance. It's about building a foundation of confidence that self-doubt can't break. One of the most powerful things you can do is decide what you will no longer tolerate from your own mind. Most people set boundaries with others, but they never set boundaries with their own thoughts. That's a mistake. If your own thinking is tearing you down, you need to confront it. Not tomorrow. Now. You have to set a mental standard. You have to train your mind to respect your goals. If a thought doesn't support your growth, it doesn't belong. Period. Repetition creates belief. If you've been doubting yourself for years, that belief won't leave overnight, but it will leave if you stop feeding it. Every time you challenge it, you weaken it. Every time you act in spite of it, you rise above it. That's what training the mind looks like. It's not about being fearless. It's about building courage. And courage is built in moments when self-doubt shows up and you choose to keep going anyway. Self-doubt shows up strongest when you're closest to change. When you're right at the edge of progress, it gets loud. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're doing something that matters. When you notice that pattern, use it as a signal. Not to back away, but to step forward with more determination. Use that feeling as a reminder that growth is happening. Self-doubt only speaks loud when it feels threatened by your progress. Start tracking the times you've doubted yourself and done it anyway. Keep a record of the moments you stepped up, when you didn't think you could speak, but you did. When you thought you'd fail, but you finished. When you expected rejection, but found success. Those are the real examples that your mind needs to hear. Feed your mind with proof, not just ideas. Proof. That's how you train it to believe in your ability to act without hesitation. You also need to be careful who you listen to. Some people project their own self-doubt onto you. They speak from their fear, not your truth. If you're not careful, their insecurity becomes your hesitation. You must protect your mindset from the influence of those who gave up on their own potential. That doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you care enough about your own future to not let their fears shape your beliefs. When you decide to reject self-doubt instantly, you stop living on pause. You stop waiting for permission. You stop playing small. You start showing up. You start believing that you deserve to take action. You start seeing yourself as capable. And the more you live in that mindset, the more natural it becomes. It's not about pretending to have confidence. It's about choosing to move forward whether the doubt is there or not. There's a big difference between thinking and doubting. Thinking is necessary. It helps you prepare. Doubting is destructive. It makes you freeze. You must learn the difference. Thoughtfulness leads to growth. Self-doubt leads to inaction. If a thought is making you better, keep it. If a thought is making you smaller, remove it. That kind of clarity will sharpen your mindset and give you power over your reactions. Don't wait until you feel brave. That's not how growth works. Most people wait until they feel confident before they try. But confidence is the result of doing the hard thing, not the starting point. You build it with action. And you prove self-doubt wrong every time you follow through. Each time you act without hesitation, you teach your mind a new standard. You teach it that fear is not the leader anymore. Look at your past and find the moments where you showed resilience. Those moments are not accidents. They are part of your identity. You've made it through things you once thought would break you. That's not a small thing. That's your foundation. Use it. Speak it. Own it. Let it remind you that the voice of self-doubt does not speak the truth. It speaks fear. And you're not here to live from fear. Self-doubt is a habit, but like every habit, it can be broken. It doesn't disappear on its own. You have to take control. You have to set your standard. Every day you get the chance to strengthen that mindset. Every time a negative thought appears and you reject it, you build strength. Every time you refuse to accept limitation, you create momentum. That's how you grow. That's how you lead your life with confidence, even when it's hard. Your mind will believe whatever you allow it to repeat. If you let it rehearse doubt, it will live there. If you train it to speak with belief, it will rise. You get to decide the tone of your inner voice. You get to decide how long self-doubt stays. You get to decide if it's worth your time. And the best decision you can make for your future is to reject it before it grows. Not later. Not when it's convenient. Instantly. With clarity. With power. With finality. Because when you train your mind to do that, everything in your life begins to shift. Number 3. Practice gratitude every morning without missing a day. Every morning gives you a new chance to decide how you're going to feel. Most people open their eyes and immediately think about stress, deadlines, problems, and what they don't have. That habit creates a mindset of lack. It trains the mind to look for what's missing, not what's already present. And when you start your day with that kind of thinking, the rest of the day follows that pattern. You rush. You compare. You worry. You feel behind before you've even left your bed. Gratitude changes that. Gratitude is not just a positive word. It's a daily decision. It's the act of choosing to focus on what's real, what's good, what's working, even if life isn't perfect. That decision needs to be made early in the day, before distractions start pulling at your attention. Because the way you start your morning often becomes the way you carry yourself for the next 16 hours. If you want a strong mindset, you need a strong morning. And if you want a strong morning, you need a clear focus. That focus should begin with gratitude. The moment you wake up, pause before reaching for your phone. Don't scroll through noise. Don't check messages. Don't rush into the chaos. Just sit still for a few minutes, in silence or with calm music. If that helps, then ask yourself, what can I be thankful for today? Not in theory, not someday, but right now, in this moment, it could be the chance to try again. It could be the breath in your lungs. It could be someone you care about. It could be the lessons you've learned. No answer is too small. Gratitude does not care about size. It cares about presence. The power of this habit is not just in the thought. It's in the feeling. Take time to actually feel thankful. Don't rush past it. Let it settle in. Let it affect your emotions. Let it soften your thinking. This is how you change your mental state without needing anything external to change. Gratitude doesn't wait for success. It builds the mindset that creates success. It clears the fog. It reminds you of your strength. It grounds you in reality. Some days you'll wake up feeling heavy. You won't feel motivated. Maybe you'll feel stuck. That's exactly when gratitude is most important. It's not hard to be thankful when everything is going your way. What matters is doing it when things feel uncertain or disappointing. That's when the habit becomes a discipline. That's when your mind needs the most guidance. And that's when gratitude becomes a decision of strength, not just a nice idea. Write it down. Don't just think it. Use a notebook or a simple sheet of paper. Each morning, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Don't copy and paste the same list. Look for something new every day. It forces your brain to pay attention to life instead of problems. It trains you to look around with different eyes. That repetition reprograms your thinking. It teaches your mind to value progress over perfection, to see opportunity where others see burden. You don't need perfect words. This isn't about poetry. It's about presence. Write in your own voice. Write what feels true to you. This is your tool, not anyone else's. If you want, speak it out loud. Let your ears hear your own words. Let your voice become a reminder of what's still good, even in tough seasons. Gratitude spoken out loud creates emotional impact. It makes it more real. The more consistent you are, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, your brain will start scanning your life for what's going right, instead of what's going wrong. That shift changes everything. It improves your mood. It sharpens your focus. It reduces anxiety. It builds optimism. And it gives you mental stability even when the world outside feels unstable. You don't have to fake anything. Gratitude doesn't require pretending. It requires attention. And attention is something you can give freely. If you've gone most of your life without this habit, don't worry. You can start now. One morning at a time. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is consistency. If you miss a day, don't criticize yourself. Just return to it the next morning. Keep it simple. Keep it personal. You'll start noticing that your reactions change. You'll find yourself being more patient, You'll feel less pressure to prove yourself. You'll handle setbacks with more calm. That's the silent power of a grateful mind. Use reminders if you need to. Leave a note by your bed. Set a morning alarm with a message that says, "Be thankful." These small steps help build the routine until it becomes automatic. Gratitude should be as natural as brushing your teeth. It should be part of the mental hygiene you practice before facing the world. Because when your mindset is clean, your actions are more intentional. There is always something you can appreciate, even on the worst days. Maybe it's a lesson you learned the hard way. Maybe it's someone who stood by you. Maybe it's a failure that taught you what to avoid. Life is full of hard moments, but it's also full of moments that deserve your thanks. The more you find them, the more balanced your mind becomes. Gratitude doesn't erase the hard parts. It puts them in perspective. Don't wait for a big breakthrough to start this. If you start now, you'll build a foundation that prepares you for bigger challenges. Gratitude is not for when things go right. It's for when you need strength to face what's ahead. It makes your thinking more flexible. It gives you emotional energy. It teaches your mind to stay grounded even when emotions run high. You begin each day with clarity instead of confusion. Your thoughts in the first 10 minutes of your day shape your next decisions. If you fill those minutes with stress and worry, that becomes your direction. But if you fill those minutes with real, honest gratitude, you're setting your compass toward peace, progress, and personal control. You give yourself a reason to stay steady. You remind yourself that your life is not just full of problems, it's full of purpose. The habit of gratitude doesn't remove all difficulty, but it keeps your mindset from being defined by negativity. It helps you face your responsibilities without resentment. It helps you connect with others from a healthier place. It helps you reduce the temptation to complain, to compare, or to live bitter. That alone is worth the few quiet minutes it takes each morning. Every day is a new opportunity to decide how you're going to see your life. The world outside can be noisy and full of demands, but you still get to decide your first thoughts of the day. Gratitude helps you start strong. It helps you move through the day with intention. It keeps you focused on what matters, not because everything is perfect, but because you've trained your mind to see what's valuable. Build this habit like it's your personal commitment to yourself. You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need to make a big announcement. Just practice it privately, honestly, and daily. Your mental strength is built in these quiet choices. The more you choose to be grateful, the more natural it becomes to live with focus and peace. Keep choosing it, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. That's where it proves its power. Number 4. Challenge every negative thought with solid truth. The mind will speak, and often it will speak loud when you're uncertain, tired, or under pressure. Negative thoughts don't ask permission. They show up with force, aiming to influence how you feel and what you believe about yourself. And if you're not careful, if you don't stop and question them, they start to feel like facts. But just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it deserves to stay. That's where discipline comes in. You've got to build the discipline to challenge every single negative thought with a clear and solid truth. When a negative thought appears, don't let it sit quietly. Don't agree with it out of habit. Don't give it the comfort of silence. Speak to it. Ask, is this actually true? Is this a fact? Or is it just a feeling I'm having right now? Don't accept every thought as final. Learn to examine it, to pause and measure it against what you really know. That one pause can shift the direction of your whole mood, your day, even your month. Truth is your strongest defense. You need to fill your mind with what is real and accurate, not with fear-based stories, not with past regrets, not with other people's criticism echoing in your head. Negative thinking thrives when you're passive, but truth grows when you are active, when you do the work to think deeper than the surface. You've got to go beyond how you feel in the moment and look at what you've proven to be true through action, through effort, and through your values. Maybe the thought says, you're not good enough. Stop. That's a bold statement. Where's the proof? What evidence backs that up? Are you really not enough? Or are you comparing yourself to a version of someone else you saw online? Have you failed so badly that you lost all value? Or are you being hard on yourself because of one mistake? One of the most powerful things you can do is to separate thoughts from facts. They are not the same. One is reactive, emotional, and often distorted. The other is rooted in reason, in effort, in perspective. Sometimes negative thoughts disguise themselves as caution or logic. They'll say things like, "You always mess things up," or "Nobody takes you seriously." Now pause. That's a pattern of generalization, and patterns like that are rarely based on facts. To challenge them, look for specific moments that prove otherwise. Recall when you followed through. Remember the time someone thanked you. Think about the results you've earned from showing up with effort. The mind needs reminders. If you don't feed it truth, it will feed on fear. This process doesn't require shouting. It requires quiet strength. You don't have to panic when a negative thought shows up. You don't have to act like it's a crisis. Just notice it. Stand firm and confront it with something better. Something based in reality. Something rooted in your progress. No matter how small it feels. That's the kind of internal leadership you must build. A leader doesn't let every doubt dictate the direction. A leader questions, reflects, and chooses better thoughts. Write your truths down. Create a personal list of what you know to be solid about yourself. Maybe you've overcome something hard. Maybe you've built a skill. Maybe you've earned trust. These aren't illusions. These are facts. And when your mind starts slipping into negativity, go back to that list. Read it. Speak it. Remind yourself that who you are is stronger than what your fears try to say. This isn't pretending. This is remembering. You've got to make this a daily practice. Not once in a while. Not when you feel like it. Make it part of your thinking process. The same way you brush your teeth without thinking, you must challenge your thoughts without delay. It has to become automatic over time. When negativity whispers, you respond. When it shouts, you stay grounded. It might take effort in the beginning, but the more you do it, the faster your mind adapts. This is how strong minds are built, by repeated acts of truth in the face of mental pressure. If your thought says, "I'm always behind," ask yourself, is that true? Or am I just measuring myself against someone else's timeline? If it says, "No one believes in me," ask, am I ignoring the people who do? If it says, "I'll never get this right," remind yourself, how many things did I once think I couldn't do? And then I did them with time and learning. That's the work. That's how you rise above mental noise. Truth is not just information. Truth is clarity. It helps you see the moment for what it really is. Not through the lens of fear, but through the lens of responsibility and strength. And when you see clearly, you don't react with emotion. You respond with intent. That's what makes you powerful. Not being perfect, but being aware enough to stop lies from becoming your script. The world doesn't owe you peace of mind. That's your job. Your responsibility is to lead your own thinking, to manage your own thoughts. And part of that is being bold enough to stand up to your own mind when it turns against you. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you aware. Everyone faces mental attacks. The question is, who's going to speak up for you when those attacks come? The answer should be you. If your mind says you're failing, look at what you've learned. If it says you don't belong, remember who you've helped. If it says you're wasting time, examine how far you've come in your journey. The point is not to silence your mind. The point is to speak truth louder. You don't have to feel confident every second. You just have to be consistent in how you fight for a clear, honest mindset. When you start thinking this way, you notice a shift. You stop being so quick to give up. You become more centered. You stay calm in moments that used to break you. And people around you start seeing that strength too. They may not know what changed, but you'll know it. Started the moment you chose not to accept every thought as truth. You chose to think for yourself, to protect your peace, to stand up for your progress. Every time you challenge a negative thought, you strengthen a different part of your thinking. You teach your brain what matters. You train your emotions to follow what's real. You begin to live from a place of reason instead of reaction. That's the path to mental discipline, and that's a skill you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. Number 5. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. One of the most powerful influences on your mindset is the company you keep. You see, it's hard to grow strong and clear when you're constantly surrounded by people who bring doubt, fear, or small thinking into your world. If you want to eliminate negative thinking, you must begin by paying close attention to the people around you. The energy, the words, the standards, the habits, those things are contagious. If you're around people who constantly complain, criticize, or make excuses, that influence doesn't just stay on the outside, it starts to affect the way you think about yourself and your life. You've got to make this a serious priority. Stop giving your time to people who drain your mental energy. Stop settling for conversations that go nowhere and only leave you feeling worse than before. You are not weak for wanting to protect your peace. In fact, it takes strength to choose better company. It takes maturity to walk away from people you've known for years if they no longer support your growth. Loyalty to others should never cost you your own clarity. Look closely at your circle. Are they lifting you or lowering you? Do they speak with hope, or do they fuel your doubts? Do they challenge you to rise, or do they keep you small so they can feel comfortable? These are not small questions. They are necessary, because no matter how disciplined or focused you try to be, if the people around you are filled with negativity, it gets harder to keep your mind clean. That's why this is not about cutting people off out of spite. It's about protecting your future with intention. Uplifting people are not perfect. They're not always cheerful or unrealistically positive. What makes them powerful is their mindset. They believe in progress. They take responsibility. They speak with honesty but also with hope. They don't tear others down to feel better about themselves. When you're around someone like that, you feel seen, but you also feel challenged. You walk away with more energy, not less. And that's the kind of energy you need to protect your mind from falling into patterns of negativity. You don't need hundreds of these people. You just need a few solid voices that remind you of what you're capable of when your mind starts to slip. A few grounded people who tell you the truth with love and push you to keep showing up. They exist, but you have to be willing to look. You have to step out of toxic patterns and circles and seek out people who live with purpose. That may mean going to new places, attending better events, joining more growth-minded groups, or reaching out to those who inspire you. One of the worst things you can do is keep your life open to people who don't care about your well-being. They may act like they care, but watch how they speak. Watch how they respond to your ideas. Do they laugh when you dream big? Do they get uncomfortable when you start changing for the better? Those reactions matter, because people who truly want to see you win will not mock your efforts. They will not question your worth. They will encourage your strength even when it makes them feel small in comparison. If you have even one person who uplifts you, keep them close. Spend time with them, share ideas with them, listen to how they speak and learn from their attitude. Let that relationship grow, because every conversation with someone who believes in you is a step away from the mindset that once held you down. And the more you invest in those connections, the more you train your mind to reject negativity. Why? Because you're constantly reminded that better is possible. When you're surrounded by growth-minded people, something changes inside you. You start thinking differently. You start questioning your limits. You begin to raise your standards. The stories you used to believe about yourself start to fall apart. That's not by accident. That's the power of influence. You rise to the level of the people you spend your time with. That's not theory. That's reality, and it's a reality that you can shape, starting today. Think about your closest 5 people. If you were to adopt their habits, their mindset, their attitude, what kind of person would you become in 6 months? That question alone can tell you if it's time to make a change. You can't always remove everyone at once. Life is complex, but you can start to shift. Spend less time with the people who drain you. Spend more time with the people who inspire action, who speak life into your goals, who live by example and not just empty talk. And if you don't have those people right now, become that person yourself first. Be the one who uplifts, encourages, and stands strong. That energy will attract the right kind of people into your life. People recognize authenticity. They are drawn to character. You don't have to impress anyone, you just have to walk in your values. And those who are meant to walk with you will meet you on that path. Start setting boundaries. Not out of anger, but out of love for your peace, your purpose, your clarity. If someone constantly puts you down, creates chaos, or brings no value to your life, it's okay to step back. That decision doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. The most positive minds are not lucky. They are protected. Protected from toxic environments. Protected from unspoken jealousy. Protected from people who never wanted to see them rise. Surrounding yourself with uplifting people doesn't mean you never face challenges, but it does mean you don't face them alone. You'll have someone to call when your thoughts start turning dark. You'll have someone to remind you of your progress when your mind starts focusing on failure. You'll have a voice that says, keep going, when all you want to do is give up. That voice is priceless. That kind of support isn't just nice to have, it's essential for mental strength. Be honest about how certain people make you feel. After a conversation, do you feel lighter or heavier? After spending time together, are you more inspired or more drained? Those answers will tell you what to do. They will help you move with clarity, because this life is short and your energy is precious. You cannot afford to waste it on people who don't believe in growth, who mock effort, who settle for less, and expect you to do the same. Your mental health deserves protection. Your goals deserve support. Your heart deserves encouragement. And your mind deserves truth, not noise. Surround yourself with people who speak life. People who hold you to a higher standard. People who make you feel like trying again, even when you're tired. That's not just a luxury. It's a necessity for the person you're becoming. Number 6. Focus only on what you can control daily. One of the hardest things for people to do is to let go of what they cannot control. It eats away at peace of mind and fills the day with frustration. When you wake up in the morning, your energy is fresh, your attention is limited, and your choices are ahead of you. The direction you choose depends on what you decide to focus on. If you begin your day thinking about things beyond your control, what someone said, what might happen tomorrow, how others behave, you're giving your power away before you've even taken your first step. You have to train your mind to notice the difference. There is a line between what belongs to you and what doesn't. Your attitude, that belongs to you. Your work ethic, that's in your hands. Your choices, that's your responsibility. But the opinions of others, not yours. The past, already done. The actions of people around you, that's on them. If you spend your days trying to manage what doesn't belong to you, you'll always feel behind. You'll feel drained. You'll feel stuck. Because the mind can only take so much before it starts to wear down. You free yourself the moment you shift your focus inward. Not in a selfish way, but in a wise way. When you stop pouring your mental energy into things you can't change, you suddenly have more room to improve what you can. That's how people rise. Not by controlling the world, but by mastering themselves. You can't control the traffic, but you can control your response to it. You can't control the market, but you can control how prepared you are. You can't control what life throws your way, but you can control how you show up to handle it. Every day is a chance to come back to what's yours. Ask yourself in the morning, what do I control today? You control what you say. You control how you listen. You control how you treat your body. You control whether you complain or take action. These are not small things. These are the building blocks of a peaceful mind. A strong person isn't someone who controls everything. It's someone who understands what they can shape and chooses to shape it. People get overwhelmed because they try to manage too much. The world feels heavy because they carry more than they need to. But you're not meant to carry everything. You're not responsible for everyone's approval. You're not responsible for the outcome of every situation. You're responsible for how you show up. That's it. Do you show up with patience? Do you show up with integrity? Do you keep your word? That's where your strength lives. Not in trying to change the uncontrollable, but in being consistent with what is yours. This takes practice. You don't wake up one day and suddenly stop worrying about everything, but you do start choosing. You notice when your thoughts wander to things outside your reach, and you bring them back. You stop letting the news, gossip, and fear hijack your day. You take ownership of where your energy goes. The more you practice this, the more clear your mind becomes. Because when you focus only on what you can control, you begin to feel powerful again. Not powerful over others, but powerful over yourself. Look at how you spend your time. Are you constantly reacting to things? Are you stuck in conversations that lead nowhere? Are you waiting on others to change before you feel better? That's a trap. If your peace depends on what someone else says or does, then you're handing over your stability. But if your focus is on doing what's right no matter what, then you become steady even in the middle of stress. That steadiness is what protects your mind from negativity. You can't stop challenges from coming, but you can decide whether they break you or build you. You build yourself by paying attention to your daily habits. What time do you wake up? What do you read? What do you watch? Who do you listen to? How do you respond when things don't go your way? These little decisions might seem small, but over time they shape your entire mindset. Because they are within your control, they become the most powerful tools you have. There's peace in knowing what's not your job. You don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to carry guilt for things you didn't do. You don't have to explain yourself to people who misunderstand you. Your job is to stay clear. Your job is to keep growing. Your job is to stay honest and grounded. Even when it's hard. That level of personal leadership is rare, but it's possible if you commit to it every single day. People often ask how to stay positive in a negative world. The answer isn't to pretend everything is fine. The answer is to anchor yourself in what's real. And what's real is your effort. What's real is your intention. What's real is how you choose to speak and act. Even when the world feels uncertain, you won't always feel strong. You won't always feel motivated. But if you train your focus to stay on what you can control, you'll build strength that lasts. Your focus determines your direction. If you aim it at the wrong things, you'll feel lost. If you fixate on other people's mistakes, you'll miss your own growth. But if you fix your attention on what's within your reach, your character, your effort, your words, you create a different path. You take your power back without having to take it from anyone else. Negative thinking loses its grip when you focus your mind where it matters. It has less space to grow when you fill your day with action, with learning, with forward movement. But if your mind is stuck in things you can't change, that's where fear, worry, and frustration live. You don't need to give them space. Not today. Not anymore. You've got too much to do, and too much to become, to waste another minute stuck in what's beyond your reach. Focus on what you can control daily. Not once a week, not only when things are calm, but every day. Because life won't wait for you to feel ready. It moves fast. And if you don't keep your focus clean, the noise will take over. But when your focus is clear, your mind becomes quiet. Not because the world is quiet, but because you are in control of yourself. And that is the beginning of real strength. Number 7. Create a routine that strengthens your mental clarity. Your mind is like a room. If it's messy and filled with clutter, it becomes harder to focus and function. But if that room is clean, organized, and in order, it becomes a space of power. Clarity is not something that shows up on its own. It must be built. It must be protected. You don't wake up one day with a sharp mind and steady thoughts unless you've taken the time to design your life in a way that supports it. That's why routine matters. Not just any routine, but one that trains your mind to think clearly, act intentionally, and move through the day with purpose. The mind responds to structure. When your days are unpredictable and scattered, your thoughts begin to mirror that chaos. You become reactive instead of deliberate. You start the day already behind. But when you build a daily system that serves your clarity, you gain control over the direction of your energy. And mental clarity is not a luxury, it is essential. Because when your mind is clear, your decisions improve. You stop wasting time on confusion. You become better at choosing what matters and letting go of what doesn't. A strong routine begins the night before. If your mind is racing at bedtime, it will be heavy in the morning. You must empty your thoughts, settle your system, and give yourself a chance to rest. That means disconnecting from noise, turning away from screens, and creating an environment that calms you. Write down your tasks, review your plans. Prepare for the day ahead so your mind doesn't carry it all through the night. That's step 1 in gaining mental clarity, giving your mind a chance to rest without resistance. Then comes the morning. What you do when you first wake up will either sharpen your thinking or dull it. If you start with distraction, your clarity fades. If you begin with intention, your mind finds its center. That's why so many successful people guard their mornings. It's not about following a perfect routine, it's about building a consistent one that clears your thinking. You might start with a few minutes of quiet. You might journal your goals. You might move your body. You might read something that lifts your thoughts. Whatever you do, it must point your mind in the direction you want to go. Mental clarity comes from habits that align with purpose. If your routine is full of noise, your thoughts will be scattered. But if your routine is simple and focused, your thoughts will settle. Ask yourself each morning, what do I need to do to keep my mind strong today? It could be setting clear priorities. It could be limiting what drains your energy. It could be creating space in your schedule to think. Clarity doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing the right things with a clear reason behind them. One of the most effective parts of a strong routine is reflection. Most people keep moving without asking why they feel what they feel. But if you take even 5 minutes a day to review your emotions, your thoughts and your choices, your clarity increases. You stop repeating the same errors. You start noticing what triggers your stress. You become more aware of what helps you stay centered. That kind of awareness is rare, but it is the key to long-term peace of mind. Your mental clarity also depends on what you feed your brain. Garbage in, garbage out. If your day is filled with meaningless content, pointless scrolling, and conversations that drain you, your clarity suffers. But if your routine includes learning, growing, and focusing on things that build you up, your thinking sharpens. Make it a point to include something in your day that improves your perspective. It doesn't need to be big. A few minutes of reading, a meaningful conversation, a course, a podcast, something that reminds you of what matters and cuts through the noise. Another element of clarity is physical health. A tired body creates a tired mind. If you're skipping meals, staying up late, and avoiding movement, your thinking will become foggy. That's not weakness. That's reality. Your routine must include movement, not for appearance, but for energy. Even 10 minutes of walking, stretching, or breathing can reset your mental state. When your body feels awake, your mind finds it easier to focus. Don't overlook this. You don't need to be an athlete. You need to care enough about your mind to move your body. Boundaries are also part of a clarity-building routine. If you allow everyone to interrupt you whenever they want, your mind will stay scattered. You need focused time for yourself. You need quiet moments to gather your thoughts. You need blocks in your day where you're not responding, but creating. Whether it's during work or personal time, your routine should protect your focus. That's how you get clear. By saying no to chaos and yes to structure. Every part of your routine should be a tool, not a trap. If something isn't helping you think better, feel better, or act better, consider letting it go. Simplicity is your friend. You don't need a schedule packed with tasks. You need a rhythm that supports your mind. That might look like starting your day with a consistent wake-up time. It might mean turning off distractions at a set hour. It might mean planning your priorities the night before. These aren't big changes, but they create big results when practiced with consistency. Even during hard seasons, a steady routine becomes a lifeline. When life gets stressful, many people drop their habits. But that's when you need them most. Your routine keeps you grounded when your emotions feel unstable. It reminds you who you are. It helps you stay forward-focused when your mind wants to spiral. That kind of stability isn't glamorous, but it's powerful. It keeps you moving even when motivation fades. Start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Choose 1 or 2 practices that clear your mind and stick to them. Maybe it's setting a clear start time for your work. Maybe it's limiting how much time you spend on your phone. Maybe it's drinking water first thing in the morning. Small things done repeatedly create big shifts. That's how routines work. Not by being perfect, but by being consistent. Mental clarity is not a personality trait. It's a skill you develop. It's the outcome of a system you choose, not something you're born with. You get clear by creating a life that makes clarity easier. And that starts with your routine. Day by day, choice by choice, You build a structure that supports your strongest mind. You don't have to feel overwhelmed or mentally exhausted all the time. You don't have to stay stuck in confusion. You can train your mind to be focused, calm, and clear. But you must earn that with how you live your day. A strong mind is built through strong habits. A clear mind is shaped by clear choices. Your routine is the blueprint. It's the anchor that keeps you steady and the compass that keeps you moving forward with direction. If you want clarity, don't wish for it. Build it every day, without excuse, without delay. Number 8. Speak positive words to yourself with full belief. What you say to yourself matters more than most people realize. Every day you are having a conversation with yourself, and the words you use in that conversation shape your direction, your choices, and even your energy. If your self-talk is filled with doubt, criticism, and fear, you begin to carry those emotions into your actions. But if your self-talk is strong, honest, and encouraging, you begin to build a mindset that can withstand pressure and stay focused. You become your own source of strength. It starts with honesty. You cannot speak words that uplift you if you do not believe in them. Belief is the engine behind self-talk. When you tell yourself you're capable, you have to mean it. When you remind yourself you can improve, it must come from a place of truth. This is not about pretending. It's not about using shallow affirmations with no feeling. It's about choosing to speak to yourself the way someone who loves you would, with clarity, with care, with belief in who you are becoming. Many people wait for someone else to encourage them. They wait for the world to recognize their value. But if you are always waiting for permission to feel worthy, you'll stay stuck. You must give yourself that approval. You must become your own support. And that support starts with your words. The way you speak to yourself during stress, challenge, or failure matters most. It's easy to be positive when things go well, but real power comes when you can speak belief over yourself, even when things feel uncertain. Self-talk is not about ignoring your mistakes. It's about responding to them with strength. If you fail and say, "I'm terrible," you shut yourself down. But if you fail and say, "I didn't get it right this time, but I can learn," you give yourself room to grow. You shift from judgment to progress. That shift makes all the difference. The mind listens to your words, and when those words are clear and constructive, your mindset becomes more resilient. Practice is essential. You don't just wake up one morning with perfect self-talk. It takes intention. Every morning you must begin your day by directing your thoughts. Say what you need to hear. Not what the world says. Not what doubt whispers. But what the strong part of you knows. Speak words that remind you of your worth, your potential, your direction. Speak to yourself the way a mentor would. Tell yourself the truth. That you are learning. That you are improving. That you are capable of making real changes. You must make this personal. The words that work for someone else might not be what you need. Take the time to write down what you believe about yourself, or what you want to believe. Read those words daily. Don't just repeat them. Feel them. Let them sink in. Let them shape your perspective. If you say, "I'm focused," then live that way. If you say, "I can do hard things," then act like it. Self-talk backed by action is where belief takes root. Negative thinking grows in silence. When you don't speak strong words to yourself, the negative thoughts get louder. That's why you need a response. When your mind says, "You're not good enough," you need to answer with, "I'm not perfect, but I am getting stronger." When your thoughts say, "You always fail," you respond with, "I've failed before, but I keep moving forward." That's not denial. That's strength. That's leadership over your own mind. Sometimes it helps to say these things out loud. Speaking gives your thoughts more power. It brings your focus into the present. It shifts your energy. It might feel strange at first, but over time it becomes natural. And more than that, it becomes necessary. When things get tough, and your mind starts racing, speaking strong words aloud can bring you back to your center. It reminds you who you are. It silences the confusion. It clears the doubt. This is something you must do every day. Not once a week, not just when things go wrong, every day. That's how you build mental strength. That's how you prepare your mindset before problems even show up. Because once a problem comes, it's much harder to build belief on the spot. But if you've been practicing, if you've been speaking with power and clarity, then when life tests you, you respond with calm. You don't fall apart. You stand up inside yourself. Your words create an atmosphere. If you speak defeat, that atmosphere drains you. If you speak progress, that atmosphere strengthens you. You must choose the environment you live in, and that environment begins with your words. Every word you speak to yourself either builds you or breaks you. Be deliberate. Be specific. Say what lifts your spirit. Say what holds you accountable. Say what keeps your focus where it needs to be. And remember, self-talk is not about hype. It's about truth. Don't lie to yourself. Speak words that you can grow into. If you're afraid, admit it, but follow it with strength. Say, I'm afraid, but I'm moving forward anyway. If you're uncertain, say, I don't have all the answers, but I will keep learning. That kind of honesty leads to real confidence, because it's not based on fantasy, it's based on growth. Even during difficult seasons, your words can carry you. There will be days when nothing goes as planned, days when people let you down, days when your energy is low. On those days, your own voice becomes your greatest ally or your worst enemy. If you've trained your voice to be steady, you can guide yourself through the storm. That's why this practice is not just useful, it's necessary. Sometimes you need to look in the mirror and speak strength over your own reflection, not for show, not for others, but for you. Say, I'm proud of how far I've come. Say, I am worthy of better. Say, I will not quit. These words are fuel. They are reminders. They are anchors. And over time, they begin to shape your entire identity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of your thoughts. You start seeing yourself as the one in charge. Speak as if your words have power, because they do. Speak as if your words shape your path, because they will. Speak with conviction. Speak with purpose. Speak with belief. And do it every single day, especially when it feels hardest, because that's when it counts the most. Number 9. Cut out all sources of toxic mental input. The mind is always listening. What you feed it will shape how it thinks, reacts, and decides. If you're constantly surrounded by noise that drags you down, sooner or later, that noise becomes your inner voice. You start repeating thoughts that were never yours to begin with. You start feeling low for no reason. You lose focus. You lose energy. And you start doubting yourself, not because something is wrong with you, but because you've allowed too much poison into your mind. Toxic mental input comes in many forms. It can be the constant stream of negative news that makes you feel like the world is falling apart. It can be people on social media spreading fear, comparison, or criticism. It can be a friend who always complains and never uplifts. It can even be your own habits, like watching content that fills your head with chaos, drama, or judgment. If you are not careful about what you expose your mind to, you will end up carrying emotions that are not even yours. You must get clear about this. Not everything deserves your attention. Just because it's loud doesn't mean it's valuable. Just because it's trending doesn't mean it's healthy. Your peace is not up for debate. You must protect it with strong boundaries. That means choosing what you allow into your mental space. That means saying no to things that drain you. That means making decisions that protect your mental energy, even if others don't understand them. Start by observing how you feel after consuming something. If a conversation leaves you feeling small, heavy, or doubtful, that's input you should eliminate. If a certain show or video leaves you anxious or bitter, stop watching it. If following someone online leaves you feeling like you're behind in life, unfollow them. You don't need to carry extra weight just to stay informed or polite. Your peace is more important than someone else's opinion. Some people believe they can handle everything. They believe they can watch negativity, surround themselves with conflict, and still stay calm. But the truth is, over time, your thoughts reflect your environment. What surrounds you begins to shape you. And unless you're deliberate, unless you pay attention, you won't even notice the shift. You'll think your lack of motivation is your fault, when in reality, you've just been feeding your mind the wrong things. Be ruthless about what you cut out. That doesn't mean being cold, it means being responsible. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. You get to decide what stays and what goes. You get to create a space where your thoughts are clearer and your heart is lighter. You are not being difficult when you cut off sources of negativity, you are being wise. This applies to relationships too. If someone is always negative, always complaining, never growing, and always pulling you down with them, you owe it to yourself to create distance. You're not responsible for fixing people who don't want to change. You can support others, but not at the cost of your own mental well-being. You can care about someone and still choose to protect your energy. That is not selfish. That is maturity. It's also important to check the conversations you have with yourself. Toxic input isn't always external. Sometimes it's the way you talk to yourself when no one else is around. Pay attention to that inner dialogue. If it's filled with guilt, shame, or harshness, it's time to shift it. You can't keep feeding your mind poison and expect it to stay strong. You must learn to speak to yourself with clarity, direction, and purpose. Set rules for your mental space. Decide what kind of information you allow into your day. Decide what kind of people you spend time with. Decide what kind of content you absorb. These decisions matter more than most people think. They are not small habits. They are foundations. What you allow in becomes part of you. So be intentional. Be clear. Be firm. That doesn't mean avoiding the world or ignoring reality. It means taking responsibility for your focus. You don't need to absorb every problem to stay informed. You don't need to watch every argument to stay aware. You don't need to hear every opinion to stay relevant. Learn to focus on what lifts you. Learn to choose input that encourages, informs, and strengthens you. There is enough good out there. There is enough truth. You just have to look for it. Many people treat their minds like open fields. Anyone can walk in, plant seeds, and leave behind whatever they want. But your mind is not a public place. It is your space, your private ground, and you have to keep it clean. If something is not helping you grow, helping you heal, or helping you stay grounded, it has no place in your life. That's not extreme. That's healthy. It also helps to replace the negative input with something better. Don't just remove what's toxic. Feed your mind with what's true, strong, and positive. Read books that teach you. Listen to voices that inspire you. Spend time with people who believe in progress. Create an environment where your thoughts are not being attacked every minute. Make your surroundings support the person you want to become. This is a daily practice. You don't do it once and expect it to last. Every day you must review what's entering your space. Every day you must pay attention to how things make you feel. If something doesn't sit right, remove it. If something uplifts you, keep it close. Over time, this habit strengthens your mind, clears your emotions, and helps you think with clarity. You may notice resistance. Some people will not like your boundaries. Some habits will be hard to let go of. But you have to remember your mission. You are building a stronger mind. You are building a life with peace and purpose. That is more important than staying comfortable. That is more important than fitting in. Your future depends on what you choose today. Never feel guilty for choosing silence over noise. Never feel guilty for choosing growth over drama. Never feel guilty for saying no to things that leave you empty. This is your life. This is your path. And the quality of your mind will shape the quality of everything else. Keep your mind clean. Protect your peace. Choose your input like your life depends on it. Because it does. Number 10. Commit to daily growth through reading and reflection. Growth is not a one-time event. It is a habit you must build every single day. The mind is like a muscle that needs constant exercise to stay strong and flexible. One of the most powerful ways to develop your mind is through reading and reflecting on what you learn. When you commit to this, you create a cycle of growth that moves you forward no matter what challenges you face. Reading is not just about gathering information. It's about opening your mind to new ideas, perspectives, and possibilities. When you read regularly, you expand your understanding of the world and yourself. You expose yourself to wisdom that others have gathered through experience and study. That knowledge becomes a tool you can use to navigate life's obstacles and opportunities. You begin to see patterns, find solutions, and think more clearly about what matters most. Reflection is equally important because it turns what you read into something personal and practical. It's easy to read words without really absorbing their meaning. Reflection forces you to slow down and consider how what you learned applies to your life. It helps you connect new knowledge to your goals, struggles, and dreams. It allows you to question old habits and beliefs, making space for change and improvement. Without reflection, reading is just noise. With reflection, reading becomes transformation. Making reading and reflection a daily commitment is a decision to invest in yourself. It means prioritizing your mental and emotional growth over distractions or quick fixes. It means dedicating time each day to nurture your mind, even when life feels busy or stressful. This daily discipline builds a foundation that strengthens your confidence and resilience. It creates momentum that carries you through difficult moments because you are continuously learning and adapting. Start by choosing books, articles, or materials that inspire you and challenge your thinking. Look for topics that relate to your goals or that stretch your understanding of yourself and the world. Don't just skim through pages. Read with intention. Take notes or highlight ideas that stand out to you. Pay attention to concepts that spark new thoughts or feelings. This process makes your reading active instead of passive. After reading, spend time reflecting on what you discovered. Ask yourself questions like, what does this mean for me? How can I apply this today? What habits or beliefs does this challenge? What new actions can I take based on this knowledge? Writing down your reflections can deepen your insight and create a record of your growth journey. This practice keeps your learning alive and real instead of fleeting. Consistency is key. Even on days when motivation feels low or time feels short, commit to reading and reflecting in some form. It could be just a few pages or a brief journal entry. What matters is that you show up for yourself daily. Over time, these small efforts add up to profound growth. You will notice your thinking becoming sharper, your decisions becoming wiser, and your emotions becoming more balanced. As you grow through reading and reflection, you will naturally begin to eliminate negative thinking. You replace doubt and fear with knowledge and understanding. You replace confusion with clarity. You replace frustration with purposeful action. The power of daily growth is that it rewires your brain and shapes your habits, so that negativity has less influence over your life. Your mind becomes a place of strength, hope, and focus. This commitment also connects you to a larger community of learners and thinkers. Through books and reflections, you join a conversation that spans generations and cultures. You gain insights from voices you may never meet, but who can guide you through their wisdom. This connection brings encouragement and perspective, reminding you that growth is a lifelong journey and that you are not alone. Sometimes growth requires patience. The benefits of reading and reflecting may not be immediate. It can take weeks or months before you see real changes in your mindset or life. That's why commitment is so important. You keep pushing forward even when progress feels slow. You trust the process because you know that daily effort compounds over time. Every day you invest in yourself is a step closer to becoming the person you want to be. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the right book. Start with what you have and where you are. The most important part is the decision to commit, not the quantity you read or how fast you progress. Growth is personal and unique to you. Honor your pace while keeping your focus. Celebrate the small wins along the way. Every insight gained, every habit improved, every moment of clarity counts. When reading and reflecting become part of your daily routine, you build more than knowledge. You build confidence, resilience, and wisdom. You create a mental environment where positive thoughts flourish and negative ones lose their grip. You develop a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities and setbacks as lessons. This mindset becomes your greatest tool for a fulfilling and successful life. Commit to this daily practice with the understanding that it is one of the most powerful ways to invest in yourself. Protect this time as you would any important appointment. Let it be your anchor in the chaos and your compass in the confusion. With each page you read and each thought you reflect on, you move closer to freedom from negative thinking and closer to the life you deserve.